At a secret location in Sarajevo, the last place of refuge for women escaping the violence of a disintegrating relationship. On the walls, the artwork of their children who come with them, being helped to come to terms with the trauma they've just experienced.
These are messages from the children, hoping their parents will learn to live in peace again.
Supported by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, this NGO offers a full range of counseling and welfare services for survivors of gender-based violence, an increasing problem in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
We adopt a multidisciplinary approach for all new residents with psychologists, social workers, and so on.
This helpline, run by the same NGO, is often the first point of contact for women who have reached breaking point. But now at least deciding not to suffer silently.
It's a very patriarchal society, and often their mothers will have suffered violence also, and the norm is to keep quiet about it. The women may carry the helpline number around with them for days before getting the courage to call.
One woman who did get the courage was a victim of the country's lingering war legacy. Overlooking Sarajevo, the graveyards bear testimony to the war that raged here in the early 90s, that also changed the lives of those who survived it. The woman found that her husband, returning from captivity and torture, was a changed man.
He became aggressive, abusing the children and myself. Then the violence started, and one night he came home drunk and grabbed a knife, shouting, "My life has no meaning, and neither should yours." That's when I decided we had to leave.
Tackling the growing problem, UNFPA is supporting a number of initiatives. This NGO is seeing signs of progress.
When we started working on this more than 10 years ago, the problem wasn't even known about. With other groups, we've been changing that, but work still needs to be done with the government and the courts.
While data is limited, it's estimated a third of all women experience some sort of violence during their lifetime here, an unacceptable level of abuse that has to change.
In tackling gender-based violence, an ever bigger problem is the fragmented and complex government structures that exist in post-war Bosnia and Herzegovina. And this extends to collecting reliable data for the scale of the problem.
And part of the problem has been in applying laws which exist but are difficult to implement, given the complicated government and judicial structures that were set up after the war.
The gender equality law at the state level allows for civil and criminal proceedings in cases of gender-based violence. It was adopted back in 2003, but because of various obstacles in applying it, it has hardly been used.
UNFPA is supporting efforts to bring about change so the law can provide as much of a refuge for survivors of gender-based violence as this centre.